What's up, you guys? Welcome to this week's One Piece chapter review. And because of procrastination, we're going to be talking about chapters 884 and 885. Now, we have Luffy ragdolling Dogtooth like he was ragdolling Doflamingo when he was in Gear 4th. But the key difference is how the two handled Gear 4th. Doflamingo was completely outclassed by Luffy in Gear 4th in speed, in strength, in defense, in reflexes. With Doflamingo, the only thing he really could do was hit and run tactics and try to keep Luffy away and try to outlast Luffy. Whereas with Dogtooth, he was getting ragdolled because he lost his composure, he lost his focus. And once he regained that focus, he really went blow for blow with Luffy and intercepted his attacks. Now, with Dogtooth, we see a whole new level of skill with his use of observation hockey and his almost Logia-like abilities. We know that with Logias that they can use their bodies to bypass attacks and dodge attacks and morph out of the way of certain things, but we don't really see it used in conjunction with observation hockey. And we see this with Dogtooth because he's not necessarily a Logia user, he's a special Paramecia user. Um, but his use of observation hockey, seeing that he can see into the future several steps ahead, and using it to morph his body out of the way of attacks and shape his body to dodge attacks, is just a whole different level of skill. And when you just combine that in conjunction with his Devil Fruit ability and how in many ways he can imitate Luffy's own attacks, and how after he regained his composure, his Mochi attacks were enough to hurt even Gear 4 Luffy, it just makes me scared to imagine the situation Doflamingo would have been in if he had to come across Dogtooth. Because if these attacks can straight up wound and injure a Gear 4 Luffy, there's nothing Doflamingo could have done to intercept any of these attacks. There's nothing Doflamingo could have done to handle Dogtooth in any way. Um, but also we see some of the flaws of Dogtooth because we see that his whole ability to tank Luffy's attacks, his whole ability to intercept Luffy's attacks relies on observation hockey. It relies on him being reserved and calm and composed. And as we see in a lot of fights, being reserved and calm and composed is it's like a glass cannon. Like when you have it, you have it. But composure can be broken very easily. Focus can be broken very easily. Even if you're Dogtooth, even if you're one of the strongest Sweet Commanders, the thing is, I think Dogtooth has never come across anybody that actually had enough firepower to even seriously injure him in the first place. So him dodging out of the way of attacks was not really one of his first go-to things. And with Luffy, he's the type of person, especially in Gear 4, that if you make one mistake, all Luffy needs is just one attack to really screw you over. We see that with Doflamingo. Doflamingo took several attacks, and Doflamingo even got back up and continued to fight after one of the strongest attacks Luffy hit him with. But it was just that Doflamingo really didn't have anything to check um, Luffy's attacks. And we see the same thing with Dogtooth, where he's not really trying to check Luffy's attacks. He's not really trying to block them. He's more so trying to dodge and counterpunch and hopefully wear Luffy down. We see this also different from how Cracker handled it. Cracker used his biscuit soldiers to pretty much work as an infinite defense and wear Luffy down continuously until Cracker really got tired of, the prolonged fight and tried to go in for the kill and failed. Um, we also see with Sanji and Pudding and Chiffon that they're making the cake and that Sanji is just killing it. And we also see Pound outside. We see Charlotte Oven right out there dealing with Pound. And we also see that Praline, along with Aladdin and the rest of the Sun Pirates, they're dealing with the sea slugs. And it just makes me look at Big Mom's crew, and it's just laughable because for this big and all-powerful Yonko and this powerful crew with its sweet commanders, this whole operation is falling apart really quickly. And I think one of the main weaknesses is Big Mom rules on fear. She rules on this subtle authoritarian, vibe. Everything's good and fine and dandy when you're following the rules, but at any moment, your dictator or Big Mom, the Queen of Totland, she can really flip her crap and destroy several buildings, kill several dozen people, and destroy a lot of her territory if she doesn't get what she wants, if she doesn't get the food that she wants. And there's nothing your minister of biscuits or crackers or nuts or whatever can do about it. These people that are supposed to be in charge of you, there's nothing they can do to stop their own mom. And we was thinking, I think, when she was going after German technology, wow, Big Mom's going to be this super powerful, unstoppable Yonko if she gets her hands on it. And we see that even without German's technology, her and her crew are really fragile, because we see Praline turn against Big Mom. We see Chiffon turn against Big Mom. We see Pudding turn against Big Mom. We see Charlotte Opera lied against Big Mom. We have seen a lot of turncoats against Big Mom right now. And we have seen a lot of people that we thought were really powerful just get bodied. We've seen Bobbin get bodied by Sanji. We've seen him get bodied by the Fire Tank Pirates. We've also seen Cracker get taken down. We haven't seen anything from Smoothie. Dogtooth was getting ragdolled by Luffy. Granted, he's the strongest Sweet Commander, but Luffy is right. He is beatable. And just because he hasn't been hit in a while doesn't mean that he's invincible. It doesn't mean that he's unbeatable. He's just like one of those video game bosses. You have to wait for a certain interval of time or for a certain weak spot to come up, and then you just have to hit him with everything you got. And with Dogtooth, that interval is when he loses his composure. You just have to endure his barrage or his assault. Try to throw him off his guard. And once you throw him off his guard, then just hit him with Gear 4. And we also see with Dogtooth, one of his flaws, that he informs Luffy that his time limit is coming up and he can't possibly continue this fight in Gear 4. That would have been perfect, because Luffy didn't even really think about that. Now Luffy's escaped out of the mirror world. Dogtooth's trapped in there. This can work two ways, Dogtooth can recuperate from his injuries from the Gear 4 fight and, just wait for Luffy to come back and he can be refreshed. Because, we see Luffy in the next chapter dealing with an enraged Big Mom and running away from her. And we see the rest of Big Mom's pirates or crew trying to rally themselves up to stop the rest of the Straw Hats and the Fire Tank Pirates, because they know that they're still within the territory. But it's like, well, your sea slugs have turned against you. You have one Sweet Commander out of commission. You have another Sweet Commander trapped in the mirror world. You have a Sweet Commander in Smoothie who has done absolutely nothing so far. We haven't seen a lot from the older children of Big Mom. Big Mom's first batch of kids. We haven't seen really a lot of what they can do, and they haven't been thrown into the action as much as they should have. At this point, with the Straw Hats escaping, the Fire Tank Pirates escaping, you should be throwing up the full alarm. This shouldn't have been something that you just now doing. This should have been something that you should have did as a precaution. Like Montior and the rest of the crew are trying to rally the ships together and trying to block off any exit and everything like that and be on alert. You should have did this before. You should have been anticipating any type of escape, any type of chance that they might dodge Big Mom, that they might perhaps dodge Dogtooth. As unlikely as the scenario is, you should have been anticipating that. You should have been planning for it. Now, they're making Big Mom look like a fool. They're making the pirate crew look like incompetent. At this point, I don't think Big Mom is a capable Yonko. And this goes to show, because early on when we were introduced to Big Mom, a lot of people were saying, oh, Big Mom's weak. And, she's the weakest Yonko. And I don't think that. I don't think that she's the weakest Yonko. And, in combat abilities, combat-wise, Big Mom is popping when she's on. Her attacks are just ultimately powerful. Her Devil Fruit is just hacked to crap. The fact that she can control and manipulate the spirits and souls of other people and then infuse it into inanimate objects and animals, that's an OP ability. That is. And like her hockey, the fact that she could just casually go blow to blow with Luffy and I think a Gear 4th mode. But the fact she's just able to go casually like blow to blow with him hockey wise, just casually, not even all out attack. And that her two homies control the weather and flames, and then she has Napoleon as a sword. Big Mom, combat-wise herself, she is a nightmare to face. It's just her crew is incompetent, and it's just that her eating disorder gets in the way of her full potential. She can be an absolute wrecking ball when she decides to be, when she is focused and when she has a mission or a goal in mind. But outside of that, she's just kind of like a storm. It doesn't really have a set defined path. She doesn't really have any particular goal that she wants to do when she's angry, when she's in one of these eating disorders. It's just pretty much destruction for the sake of destruction, destroying everything around her until she gets what she wants. It's not some focused or concentrated thing. And that's what hinders Big Mom in my opinion. Like, her combat abilities are held back by her eating disorder. And that is what makes her a weak Yonko. What also makes her a weak Yonko is that a Yonko isn't just based on their strength alone. It's based on their crew strength. And as we see with Big Mom's crew, they really can't handle opposition well. They really can't handle a mounted opposition. Granted, this is from the Straw Hat Pirates and the Fire Tank Pirates. The Fire Tank Pirates are really in the background here. It's the Straw Hats that are doing most of the heavy lifting here. They're the ones who are trying to make the cake. They're the ones trying to escape. They're the ones that are really doing a lot of the heavy work now. And you have to consider, this isn't all of the Straw Hat crew. This is only half of the crew. And Big Mom's crew and pirates, they're struggling with just half of the Straw Hats. They're struggling with half of them. Now, granted, you can argue that they do have Germa 66 to deal with, the Vinsmoke family, and they do have the Fire Tank Pirates who are still trying to escape. But the thing is, the Vinsmoke family, they're like at the wayside here. The Fire Tank Pirates are at the wayside. Let's just be honest. It's about the Straw Hats. And the fact that there have been several mistakes dealing with the Straw Hats, and the fact that they couldn't background check the Fire Tank Pirates, and they couldn't possibly anticipate some of the flaws going wrong at the wedding. It's just a mess. It's a mess. And I think I remember one of these underworld emperors or something that was at the wedding, and I think he runs media and news. I think after this whole arc is over, it's going to get out that Luffy and the Fire Tank Pirates and the Vinsmokes really screwed over Big Mom, and her reputation is going to go down. And Jinbei acknowledged this. Like, this is really going to look bad for Big Mom as a Yonko, and it's going to look bad for her crew as well. If the Straw Hats escape, and if Luffy gets away with all the stuff that he did, if the Fire Tank Pirates get away with what they did, so Big Mom is going to be coming after them because she has a reputation on the line. But I don't know. These last two chapters have been just a rush. But I don't know how Luffy's going to deal with Big Mom. Luffy, at this point, he can't go Gear 4th. He's trying to run away, and he's banking on the fact that Brule is going to be his meal ticket at this point. And it's funny how the chapter ends with Sanji saying, "Let's take down Big Mom." You're not taking down Big Mom. It's not like you guys are actually physically defeating her in a fight. You're baking a cake. Now, surely your cake is great, and the fact that Sanji made it, it's almost to die for, but I don't see this cake defeating Big Mom. Calming her, yeah, maybe in the off chance, the cake is so good that Big Mom is willing to just let all of this go. Maybe. Like, it's unlikely, but it's a chance. This is Big Mom we're talking about. Maybe Sanji cooked the cake so well that she is willing to pardon everything that has transpired. Everything. And let them go. Maybe. Or there's the off chance that they might try to sneak Big Mom after she eats the cake, after she's all calm and everything and peaceful. Because we seen what happened when Jinbei fed her the croquembouche or whatever it was called. She just went to almost like a giddy kid-like state. Like if Luffy could just land one good blow on her, knock her out, just solid enough for them to escape, maybe. I don't know how these chapters, I don't know how this arc is going to end. It can end a number of ways. But either way, Big Mom is going to look like a tool at the end of this arc. That's just my opinion. This is VM. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Bye. What was your thoughts on the chapters?